Good morning and welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning. I'm Kim Palo, and yes, I'm sitting in this chair. This is Joe's chair, usually when we're here. But strange things do happen in the month of July. I have found out that everyone goes on vacation, and all three of our production people are on vacation. So Joe's behind the Tennessee Valley this morning, and I'm sure he'll be yelling at me as he does regularly as we get through this morning. He's having to do the production part, and I'm going to try to fill in, but no one can because he is the professional in our family, and I bow to him. And so I'm going to get through this, and I've got help this morning. I have Chuck Harris. Yes, I have Chuck Harris this morning. He is working in sales with us at WTMB, and we're glad to have him. But he also works with the National Scouting Report.
Yes.
You do, and so he recruits young high school and even watches the junior high and probably even elementary for all I know. He's going to watch them all the way through to make sure that he gets them at the right time to make sure that they get a great education and that they go on in their sporting career. So good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Kim.
I know we're all swollen-eyed this morning.
I know, it's like, okay, it's 6:30. No, 6:30 in the morning, not at night. You know.
I know, but the worst part is the 5 o'clock to get up. It's like, really 5 o'clock? Nancy Kaysen always said she never knew there was another 5 o'clock in the day, but she got to know very quickly that there is. But thank you for joining us so early this morning. We have a great show for you today. It's Wednesday, it's hump day, so you got a little energy going there. We're on the downward slope this morning. But as usual, and every Wednesday morning, we have the marvelous and just all kinds of information from Mr. Ron Moore. He's already here. He's happy. Look how happy Ron is over there. He's here this morning, and he's going to give us a little history. He's keeping it from me because last time I was here, I spoiled it and told everybody first. So we'll see what Ron has to tell us about the local history. And then also we have Stephen Kinder from PALS, and I think he's going to bring something reptilian. He did last week. He brought a
well, you know, I'm hoping it's not something that crawls. That's all I'm going to say.
You're hoping it's a puppy or a
puppy or something I can hold, you know.
Yeah, I know. We'll just see what Stephen has for us. He does a great job with PALS. That whole organization does a great job, and we're grateful that they're here most every Wednesday morning to see if we can get them, get a pet adopted out for them. And then also, Dr. Kundo is going to be here. He's a local neurologist that we have recruited from the San Francisco Bay Area. He was there for 20 years, and he will be here talking about a subject that's kind of close to me. We're going to be talking about a rare dementia that my father had, and he passed away about 18 months ago. It's called primary progressive aphasia. And we'll talk about for just a minute about that because it is so rare and go into some issues with Alzheimer's. So we're glad that he's here this morning, and we've got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, even in Cleveland. The thing we're growing, you know, talk about the red, you know, we're talking about not Red Lobster, but Olive Garden.
Olive Garden's
I mean,
coming.
it is going up. I saw yesterday. They're bringing in the trusses.
Well,
and they're getting ready for all the framework. And also, I'm thinking, man, this is going to be exciting for Cleveland, especially my wife. She loves to go eat.
To the Olive Garden, I know we all do. And also the Holiday Inn Express up there on exit 20, that or not, 25, 30. 27.
Yeah. And I talked to Richie Hughes. He's coached basketball with me, and he's a great guy. He's a great person. We have talked, and he's got some new. He's coming, I think, sometime next month, and he's going to let some stuff out. What else is coming up there?
Right, I know that. I know they're working on a couple of things, and I'm excited. Mr. Hughes has been working hard to develop that area. He has several acres up there, and I think that the Holiday Express only takes 2 acres.
2 acres.
And he's got 9 up there, and so he's going to develop that, and he's got some stuff.
Yes.
And there's also the firehouse is coming over to Paul Huff Parkway.
Yes, and you got Buffalo Wild Wings, and I found out we are getting a grocery store, a name brands grocery store down in the area on Paul Huff. They haven't picked the area yet, but they have said they want to come to Cleveland.
Well, good. Well, good. Cleveland is growing. It's a great place to be. We're gonna. It's hot and muggy.
Yes,
it's hot and muggy here, but not as bad as it is about 100 miles from us. It's really hot in the Midwest and the mid part of the country, and so but it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, it's going to be 75. It's 75 right now, but one blessing we got is going to have a chance of thunder showers today and tomorrow. That's a good blessing, but the heat index is going to be close to 105, 110.
I know.
Just be careful out there. Go and check on your neighbors that don't have air conditioner. Check on the elderly, pets. We're talking about pets.
Yeah, that's right.
If you have an outside outdoor pet, make sure they got cool water, not warm water.
Right.
That'd be great.
And you guys stay hydrated as well. It's important to stay hydrated.
And also crack the windows down when you go in, a little bit, let air circulate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're going to look at the weather, and then we're going to have Ron Moore to come and sit and tell us something that we don't know. So the weather is coming up, and guys, today it's going to be partly cloudy, and the high is going to be about 96 to 98 degrees. The low is going to be 74. Tomorrow it's partly cloudy and with 98. Oh my goodness, let's stay inside with a low of 75. And again, it'll be partly cloudy on Thursday with a high of 96 and a low of 76. If I'm reading that correctly, I hope I did. There's your weather. I hope you're up to date. We're going to go to break, Chuck. We're going to pay for us sitting here this morning.
Right.
That's right. We're going to pay for it. So you guys watch these commercials, and we'll be right back with Ron Moore and History here in Cleveland.
How would you like to look better and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Pain Management, located at 2020 Keith Street Northwest, Suite C in Cleveland. Dr. Dennis Ford is board certified with the American Board of Anti-Aging, the American Board of Pain Management, the American Board of Anesthesiology, and the American Board of Family Physicians. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. Dr. Ford is a licensed physician offering affordable Botox injections for just $10 per unit. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. Botox can also be used on the lower face to treat the muscles that cause tiny lines around the mouth and neck. Botox Cosmetic works by relaxing the facial muscles, creating a smoother, more refreshed appearance that's safe and now affordable. So to look and feel your best, visit the Ford Center for Pain Management at 2020 Keith Street Northwest or call for an appointment 614-0535. The Ford Center for Pain Management.
I'm Byron Winters with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Contact me for all of your business insurance needs. From general liability to workers' comp, commercial auto, and business umbrellas, Landmark Insurance has you covered.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television, Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m. or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
Volunteer Ridipest LLC has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding areas for over 40 years. Their qualified, experienced technicians are trained in all the latest techniques to keep your home pest-free. Volunteer Ridipest LLC offers Mosquito Guard, which keeps mosquitoes out of your yard and out of your life. Their monthly and quarterly treatments are backed by their 100% money-back guarantee. For all your pest removal needs, call Volunteer Ridipest LLC today at 423-472-7736.
Now's your chance to showcase your small business products or services. The Be Your Own Boss Expo is coming to Bradley Square Mall in Cleveland, Tennessee on Saturday, September the 17th. This expo will provide you with networking opportunities and services to help you grow your small business. Vendors will be able to connect with hundreds of potential clients without the high expense of advertising. If you own a small business in or around Cleveland, Tennessee, you do not want to miss this event. For more information, visit byobexpo.net or call 865-368-1095.
Good morning and welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning. We're so glad to have you with us this morning. It's early. I know the sun's about to come up when we arrive, and when you guys get up, it's that time of year, but pretty soon it won't be too much longer until we change the time and it's light outside. But we appreciate you watching this morning. We have Ron Moore, our local historian. He also has a program at 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings on 99.9 Whoop Radio. So you want to tune into that. That is Hometown Cleveland.
Old Town Cleveland.
Old Town Cleveland. You know, I'll get it right. Everybody knows that I can't talk straight, so there you go. So this morning we're glad to have you, Ron. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm struggling through. I'm doing Joe's job, but he'll be back and everything will be normal.
The host is better looking than normal today.
I know.
Really,
I'll give you 30 minutes to hush, Ron. You just go on.
Just go ahead, Ron.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll talk back. Oh, Joe's in another room. I can't talk.
That's right. What you got for us this morning? What are you going to tell us, Ron?
I'm going to tell you why we are Cleveland, Tennessee.
Well, good. We need to know that.
Bradley County was formed in 1836.
Right.
And first thing they did, they had a deputy sheriff come down to McMinn County and swore in the officers that the state legislators basically had appointed.
Right.
And their first chore was to pick a location for the permanent justice location, or county seat as we would call it today. That was the county court. Today we call it the county commission.
Okay.
So at 1836.
And they finally passed their budget.
Yes. Just a couple weeks ago. From 1836.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they had to pay some bills. I thought it was interesting. The first thing they voted on to pay somebody back $2 and $3, $4 back then. And basically where Julian's Chapel is where the first county court meeting was, up on the northern end of town.
Okay.
It wasn't in downtown Cleveland because downtown Cleveland hadn't been created, and the name Cleveland hadn't been created. So they started there. It came down to two selections where they wanted to have the county seat, and it was at Taylor's Place, Andrew Taylor's Place, or Deer in the Waters Reservation. Now, Deer in the Waters Reservation is located where the new Whirlpool plant is going up. That is Deer in the Waters Reservation. It's called a reservation because he was an Indian, and basically by treaty had already left that, and so white man had let him stay here for a while. So at that
weren't we
time,
nice?
Yeah, we were nice. We were taking it from you.
Yeah, we were taking it from you, but let us stay a little bit.
But you have to remember, all of Bradley County, every location in Bradley County was owned by the Cherokee Nation, and it was an argument over the treaty that had been signed. They were still trying that, but it had been signed long before 36. But in 38 we finally moved them out. But in 36 they actually owned the land here, and so Andrew Taylor owned a place in downtown Cleveland, what we call downtown Cleveland, where the old post office is located now. He had a big log trading center there. And he had married a Cherokee Indian, and that's how come he was allowed to be in the nation.
Right.
And although that property was owned by the state of Tennessee, so they didn't really get anything for it. So, needless to say, Andrew Taylor's place won the vote by one. And there's some interesting story that there was a 19-year-old voted and he wasn't eligible to vote, or he was at 19, and so there's a lot of controversy still today. I don't think we're fighting about it anymore, but
we could. Those are fighting words.
But the important thing there was that the argument came down to water. You have to remember, in 1836 we didn't have water lines,
right?
And the railroad was going to come down through this way from Knoxville to Atlanta, and the people decided that water was more important than the railroad. They didn't understand the need of the railroad yet, and like I say, horses needed water.
Right.
People needed water. So they selected, and downtown is just covered in springs still today. There
really?
are springs all over that area. Bradley County has springs just about anywhere.
Huh.
So that's why, and it's good fresh drinking water. So now if you'll go look on the map of Bradley County, you'll see this great straight line of this railroad coming out of there. And it gets down so far, and then it takes this wild turn.
Okay.
This big turn to the east, to the west, and then comes through Cleveland. At one time it went straight right through the Deer in the Waters location, but it takes a turn before it gets there.
Okay.
So, it comes along 20th Street, if you'll notice,
Right.
that big turn. Well, the railroad had to change its mind because we voted to have Andrew Taylor's place here. Let's see. Now, the legislative body in Tennessee named this Cleveland. After we picked Andrew Taylor's place, or Taylor's place, the legislative named it. They named, of course, Bradley County was named by the legislator, and that's Colonel Edward Bradley, who owned a horse track in Middle Tennessee, and Andrew Jackson and him
had a little bet going on.
Yeah, and he owed Bradley a lot of money.
Right.
And so Jackson says, well, what if we just name a county after you and they forgot the loan? So we were here on a bet.
Oh.
So Bradley County is named after a bet. But Cleveland was named there, and there was a man named Colonel Benjamin Cleveland.
Okay.
He's not from Tennessee. He was from North Carolina. But he had been through Tennessee. He was a Revolutionary War hero. He had been all over the South fighting there. Kings Mountain is a huge battle in the Revolutionary War. He was a leader in that, and he fought some here in what's East Tennessee now. And so the legislators all knew this gentleman.
Right.
His name was the Cleveland family was very well known in America and very well known in England. So he was a very notable type person.
So we have great roots.
So they decided to name this community Cleveland after Benjamin Cleveland. So now, ironically, he had family who moved here, and they're buried here in Cleveland still at the Spriggs Cleveland Cemetery, which most people won't know where that is, but if you go up Walker Valley Road to Ginger Buchanan Wilson's farm, that was easy for me to say.
Yeah, right.
You got my problem.
Do it again.
Farm. It's a small cemetery on her land there. And the Spriggs were one of the communities that one of the people was one of the original county court members also. So the Cleveland family is very, very notable. From the fact is that not only did they have known in England and known in America, and they continue to be known in America, and President Grover Cleveland is in now this same family that this Cleveland was named after. So, good thing that, if we could have been called George or Ralph or John or something,
but we got Cleveland.
A Revolutionary War soldier is where we. And I think the Sons of the American Revolution organization, which I'm proud to be a member of, they are trying to build a statue here in Cleveland of Benjamin Cleveland.
We'll see. I would have thought they were doing one of Joe.
Me too. I thought Joe Palo would be the
They've
next
got that one coming.
But
they hadn't decided where to put it yet.
Okay.
There were some porta potties up here. But,
there. Absolutely. Well, that would be interesting because that is. I didn't realize that he was all the way from the Revolutionary War, and that's important. To have somebody of that stature that had been through this area and had fought for us. To be named after. So.
Well, we could have been called Deer in the Water.
That's right, Deer in the Water. That's that, and if you put two E's, that's okay. But if you put an A in there, it's kind of like deer. You want to be in the water.
And I've got some good news to report.
Okay.
Well, what is it?
Really, this on 25th Street, the porta potty was removed yesterday.
Okay. Well,
they've been building the beautification through there, and they've been a porta potty on 25th Street for several months now, and I seen them loaded up yesterday. So
well, there we go. So we have
progress. We've got porta potties out of downtown Cleveland now, and we should be.
We have running water now.
We have running water.
We do have running water. We don't need to have a deer in the water.
I've seen it floating there.
That's right. Well, Ron, thank you so much. I've gotten the sign that it's time to go to commercial, but I thank you for being here. And you always have something. You always tell us something that we don't know. That's amazing, because I'm the one that's supposed to. I tell Joe all the time I know everything.
I make up good stuff.
You do. You do.
In what, 3 weeks, there's something special going on we're going to be doing again?
Football Friday.
Yes.
Oh,
Football
yes.
Friday starts in
It's
about
going to be
3
a great
weeks,
season.
guys.
Cleveland
It's
has a
gonna be
great
nice.
team this year. I think Bradley's going to have a great team this year. Walker Valley has the talent. Let's see if they can put it together this year. So I think Bradley County is going to have a good season.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's going to be football time, and you know how we love it. All right, guys, we're going to commercial. We're going to pay for this time, and then we'll be right back.
Now's your chance to showcase your small business products or services. The Be Your Own Boss Expo is coming to Bradley Square Mall in Cleveland, Tennessee on Saturday, September the 17th. This expo will provide you with networking opportunities and services to help you grow your small business. Vendors will be able to connect with hundreds of potential clients without the high expense of advertising. If you own a small business in or around Cleveland, Tennessee, you do not want to miss this event. For more information, visit byobexpo.net or call 865-368-1095.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television. Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
Volunteer Ridipest LLC has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding areas for over 40 years. Their qualified, experienced technicians are trained in all the latest techniques to keep your home pest-free. Volunteer Ridipest LLC offers Mosquito Guard, which keeps mosquitoes out of your yard and out of your life. Their monthly and quarterly treatments are backed by their 100% money-back guarantee. For all your pest removal needs, call Volunteer Ridipest LLC today at 423-472-7736.
How would you like to look better and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Pain Management, located at 2020 Keith Street Northwest, Suite C in Cleveland. Dr. Dennis Ford is board certified with the American Board of Anti-Aging, the American Board of Pain Management, the American Board of Anesthesiology, and the American Board of Family Physicians. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. Dr. Ford is a licensed physician offering affordable Botox injections for just $10 per unit. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. Botox can also be used on the lower face to treat the muscles that cause tiny lines around the mouth and neck. Botox Cosmetic works by relaxing the facial muscles, creating a smoother, more refreshed appearance that's safe and now affordable. So to look and feel your best, visit the Ford Center for Pain Management at 2020 Keith Street Northwest or call for an appointment, 614-0535. The Ford Center for Pain Management.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge Chrysler and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
Good morning and welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning. I'm Kim Palo and I'm here with Chuck Harris. And we also have a great guest this morning. He's with PALS and he has Apollo with us today. Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about Apollo, and let's see if you can pass it down and see if we can take a look at him this morning. Tell us about him, Stephen.
Apollo is a bearded dragon. They're from Australia and New Guinea.
There you go, Kim.
See.
And they're very popular as pets. They're one of the most personable reptile pets you can get. Apollo is what's called a cinnamon sandfire bearded dragon. He's bred for color. He's actually dark right now.
Gorgeous.
He's actually dark. He turns a much deeper orange
with
yellow highlights. They eat insects and greens every day.
Okay.
They're very, very happy to chase around food or take food from your hand directly. And this is a rescued bearded dragon from yesterday.
Yeah, he just got him yesterday. He's talking a little bit. He's letting
his
you know
mouth's open
what's going on.
Well, actually, this is why they're called bearded dragons. This is probably a male because they do a little more. He's still not going to bite me. And
oh my goodness, he's fussing.
They're jet black beards when they get upset. He doesn't know what's going on. They labeled him as vicious yesterday, and so I reached my hand right in the cage and took him out. He's, he may nip, but I doubt it very seriously. He's going to act big. And he's going to run around. But he's not going to actually bite. He's just trying to get on my hand.
Oh.
There you go.
There he goes. Well, he's a rescue, and he's not been with you just a day or two. Yesterday.
Not even 12 hours yet.
And you can tell that Apollo here has been with your family for a long time. I mean, you showed us before that you can't annoy him at all. I'll let you have him so that the camera can get a closer shot of him.
There you go, Apollo.
There you go, buddy.
Sorry. There you go, man.
Yeah, Apollo is just an easygoing beardy. He's more typical of the beardies than this one is. This is pretty much the average beardy. You'll see kids walking into Petco with them just stuck on their shirt like this, and they'll walk around with them like that for an hour or two, and the bearded dragon's just like...
yeah, we're at Petco. Well, that's great. Well, just tell us a little bit about PALS and the different opportunities for people to a pet. Now, a lot of people aren't reptilian interested, but there are some puppies and kittens and dogs and cats and everything, I guess, that you guys have pretty much to rescue.
PALS does pretty much any animal that you need rescued. Recently, I have just raised and adopted out a Great Dane puppy that I got at 27 hours old.
Oh, wow.
And PALS got the entire litter. They were very sick. We had a few survive to puppyhood, and they got adopted out. I specialize in the larger dogs, but we have many members, like Kathy Irwin, who's been on your show, who does cats and dogs. We have Deanna Phillips, and she does everything from large birds to dogs, cats, horses, goats, several exotics. She does everything, and except for cattle.
Except for cattle. Well, PALS is a great organization. I mean, they are a great place to rescue. If you're looking for a pet of any kind, the reptilian kind, I mean, Stephen will be glad to talk to you. And you can find him at Petco. He actually works at Petco. He's a dog trainer there. If you guys remember Julie Thornton that was here for several months with us, he's also a trainer as well with Julie. Well, not with her, but they both do the same thing as training dogs there. I need to take I've got 3 Chihuahuas that do not mind. But if you guys want to get in touch, Stephen, tell us how they can get in touch with you through PALS, and then also they can go to Petco or call Petco and get in touch with you.
They can call Petco and get in touch with me, or they can call my cell phone at 284-8496. If they're looking for something specific, then we'll be very happy to try to help them find it. I'll send them to the right person. We don't have a lot of registered puppies. That seems to be the popular thing at the moment. We take a lot of animals to keep them from the shelter.
Right.
But PALS is actually talking about putting together some free training classes for people to keep their animals, to fix problems with animals so that they don't go to the shelters. Because that's the biggest cause of animals going to the shelter is problem behavior.
It's problem behavior. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for bringing Apollo and your new little buddy. That he's fussing a little bit, but he's going to be just fine once he figures out that there's a new cowboy, there's a new sheriff. That's all there is to it. Well, we thank you for coming, Stephen, and we want you to come back and bring anything you want to bring.
I'll probably bring a dog next time.
Bring a dog. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to run to commercial, and we'll be back with Dr. Kundo in just 1 minute after these commercials.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge Chrysler and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
I'm Kathy Guy with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Call us today for all your personal insurance needs. With 28 years in the insurance business, I have the solutions and pricing you are looking for. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Now's your chance to showcase your small business products or services. The Be Your Own Boss Expo is coming to Bradley Square Mall in Cleveland, Tennessee on Saturday, September the 17th. This expo will provide you with networking opportunities and services to help you grow your small business. Vendors will be able to connect with hundreds of potential clients without the high expense of advertising. If you own a small business in or around Cleveland, Tennessee, you do not want to miss this event. For more information, visit byobexpo.net or call 865-368-1095.
How would you like to look better and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Pain Management, located at 2020 Keith Street Northwest, Suite C in Cleveland. Dr. Dennis Ford is board certified with the American Board of Anti-Aging, the American Board of Pain Management, the American Board of Anesthesiology, and the American Board of Family Physicians. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. Dr. Ford is a licensed physician offering affordable Botox injections for just $10 per unit. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. Botox can also be used on the lower face to treat the muscles that cause tiny lines around the mouth and neck. Botox Cosmetic works by relaxing the facial muscles, creating a smoother, more refreshed appearance that's safe and now affordable. So to look and feel your best, visit the Ford Center for Pain Management at 2020 Keith Street Northwest or call for an appointment, 614-0535. The Ford Center for Pain Management.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television, Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m., or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
Volunteer Ridipest LLC has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding areas for over 40 years. Their qualified, experienced technicians are trained in all the latest techniques to keep your home pest-free. Volunteer Ridipest LLC offers Mosquito Guard, which keeps mosquitoes out of your yard and out of your life. Their monthly and quarterly treatments are backed by their 100% money-back guarantee. For all your pest removal needs, call Volunteer Ridipest LLC today at 423-472-7736.
Good morning and welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning. We are privileged to have Dr. Kundo. He is a neurologist here in Cleveland. He has been in the San Francisco Bay Area for about 20 years. So Dr. Kundo, welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where your education came from, and how you got from San Francisco to here.
Well, I have shared that on my previous occasions here too. I did my medicine in India originally, and I came to the United States in 1984.
Right.
And I did my neurology at Temple University in Philadelphia, and then a fellowship in epilepsy and EEG at University of Alabama in Birmingham.
Well, that's interesting that they allowed you to come to Cleveland when they were searching for you, that you had been at University of Alabama.
Alabama.
I guess that just shows how talented you are. That's a testimony to how much they wanted you here.
Well, that was 20 years ago, though.
Oh, yeah.
So then subsequently, in fact, it is surprising that the first place that really wanted me at that time was Chattanooga, and I told them that, well, I'm headed to San Francisco in California. So But anyway, I had a 20-year practice there, and then with children all leaving for college, and there being some takeover of the hospital where I was in, I thought it was not a bad idea to think outside the box and think of a new scenario, and here I am.
Well, we're glad to have you here in Cleveland, very much so. And I know that you are a great added physician here and urologist to the Bradley County area. We have talked a little bit online, and I have told you a little bit about my father, and a lot of you out there knew him. And he was diagnosed back in 2002 with a rare dementia that's called primary progressive aphasia. It affected his ability to speak and also just motor skills within this area. And I want to talk to, this is personal a little bit, talk to Dr. Kundo about that disease, about where they've, how they finally diagnosed that disease because it is so rare, and where they have come from. I think 1982 was about the first time that it was kind of, talked about, to where we are today with that, and maybe some of the symptoms that people can look at and about it.
Well, basically that would talk about the whole group of neurodegenerative diseases. So a primary progressive aphasia is just a very small portion of that spectrum. Right. And I think understanding that process helps you really understand what neurology does. I mean, from your own experience, you probably remember the frustration of not knowing what's going on.
Right.
And I believe the role of a neurologist lies in that.
Right.
That there are so many diseases which are esoteric. It's not run-of-the-mill. An average physician may not even know of its existence, or let alone diagnose that with confidence.
Right.
It is not enough to suspect something. It is important to feel that this is what it is and have a system of investigative tests to support that diagnosis.
Right.
And that actually is the role of a neurologist. That's what makes it purely cognitive specialty. And when I say that, it is an understanding of the process that then needs to be imparted to the family for them to understand what are we looking at. Right. And what exactly are the alternatives to what we could be doing, because that always haunts us when we are dealing with the patient care, that what else could we do?
Right, we want to fix it.
That's right. And there, knowing that these are the types of patients we have had in precedent of how those patients fared allows us to understand the case in hand.
Right.
And there, this is, to understand this disease would take us back to understand how the brain is structured and how it goes through life. And you recognize the fact that we are born with the 100% complement of all the brain cells that we will ever have.
Right.
And the number 2 take-home message here is that we do not grow one more brain cell than we are born with.
But we kill a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, we kill, but there is also a natural process of attrition.
Right.
In fact, the brain cells, as they form in the fetus, probably around the 6 months of gestation, all the divisions of cells that ultimately leads to a neuron, which is the unit of the brain, the single cell, those numbers are completely counted by about the 6 months. So then there is growth. Of course, a little baby goes into an adult and there's increase in brain size. That happens because of increase in size of the individual cells and their ramifications and communication with other cells, and the growth of the supporting structure. So now the brain becomes bigger, but from that point on, as you become an adult, there's only one change that can happen, that you can lose a brain cell. Right. You cannot grow one more. So same as our hair falls out, and we may have very thick hair as a child, and then as you go along, your hair kind of drops, and we know that.
Right.
And in some people it drops faster than others. Mm-hmm. Other cells in the body are generated and regenerated. For example, our skin is constantly being regenerated and falling off, and then within our blood the same thing happens, in our bones the same thing happens. Right. But the brain is distinctly different. So having said that, now we're talking of diseases that can affect this fallout. The only way it can do is accelerate it.
Right.
So it could accelerate this brain loss, and number two, all brain cells are not the same. Right. There are certain cells which specialize in certain function. For example, there are certain cells which deal exclusively with supply to the muscles, so they are the motor cells. Then there are other cells which are functionally sensory. That means they get sensation from the periphery back into the brain. So these are cells which have their own specialization. Now the nature of the degenerative diseases is such that they focus on one group of particular cells for whatever reason, and that's what we do not know yet.
Right.
So the predilection of involvement in primary progressive aphasia happens to be those group of cells which are involved in the language functions.
Right, and it was the frontal lobe.
Well, it's various areas, because the frontal lobe has to do with the expressive part of it.
Right.
And then there is a portion behind which has to do with our understanding.
Right.
So when you assess language, you realize that language is not necessarily just expressing.
Right.
It is also comprehension. And then comprehension means using the input of vision, of sound, of tactile input, and then assessing symbols, and then putting symbols into meanings. And then comprehension is a very convoluted loop.
Right.
So then there are various areas of the brain. I wish I had a diagram to show you.
Right.
Maybe that's what, people do need a visual to understand what the paths are. But these are areas of the brain which we know are involved in this process, and somehow this group of degenerative conditions affect these cells primarily. Now, whenever you have an area of brain with a specific function that is involved by a particular disease process, it turns out that the process is not just limited there. So then you can isolate another group of cells and find out there is an area in the midbrain which is called the substantia nigra, means black substance.
Right, and we're going into, because it's getting for us with my, we just had symptoms that were there that I noticed on emails that he was putting wrong words in the area, and so people can look to see, because you don't really know what the symptoms of any degenerative. I mean, with Dad it was PPA, and I noticed in his emails that it was like, what's he doing? And then he was a minister, and when he got up, for his sermon, it was just, we were just struggling because he couldn't come up with the I mean, it was just horrible, and he was always very, very, engaging, and it wouldn't happen. And we just saw so many things, and you're right, until we went to a neurologist, and it was only a process after test that he came up with the PPA diagnosis. A lot of people wanted to tell us that it was Alzheimer's, and yet a lot of people were saying, no, it's not Alzheimer's. And I know that there's a discussion in the medical community or the neurologists about, is it related to Alzheimer's, is it not? And there are so many symptoms that people can look for, not just with PPA, but with Alzheimer's. And we're going to take a break and take a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's. It's such a big issue. It affects so many families and what's going on. And you can tell us what's going on, if there's new medication, what symptoms people can talk about. Just talk about it in general so people can know, and they can come to you if they see that they have a problem with their family. We're going to take a break, and we will be back with Dr. Kundo in just about 2 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Volunteer Ridipest LLC has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding areas for over 40 years. Their qualified, experienced technicians are trained in all the latest techniques to keep your home pest-free. Volunteer Ridipest LLC offers Mosquito Guard, which keeps mosquitoes out of your yard and out of your life. Their monthly and quarterly treatments are backed by their 100% money-back guarantee. For all your pest removal needs, call Volunteer Ridipest LLC today at 423-472-7736.
How would you like to look better and feel better? If so, then visit the Ford Center for Pain Management, located at 2020 Keith Street Northwest, Suite C in Cleveland. Dr. Dennis Ford is board certified with the American Board of Anti-Aging, the American Board of Pain Management, the American Board of Anesthesiology, and the American Board of Family Physicians. Dr. Ford has been serving Cleveland and the surrounding area since 1984. Dr. Ford is a licensed physician offering affordable Botox injections for just $10 per unit. Botox is a medication that is used to treat dynamic wrinkles such as crow's feet, forehead lines, and frown lines. Botox can also be used on the lower face to treat the muscles that cause tiny lines around the mouth and neck. Botox Cosmetic works by relaxing the facial muscles, creating a smoother, more refreshed appearance that's safe and now affordable. So to look and feel your best, visit the Ford Center for Pain Management at 2020 Keith Street Northwest or call for an appointment, 614-0535. The Ford Center for Pain Management.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Now's your chance to showcase your small business products or services. The Be Your Own Boss Expo is coming to Bradley Square Mall in Cleveland, Tennessee on Saturday, September the 17th. This expo will provide you with networking opportunities and services to help you grow your small business. Vendors will be able to connect with hundreds of potential clients without the high expense of advertising. If you own a small business in or around Cleveland, Tennessee, you do not want to miss this event. For more information, visit byobexpo.net or call 865-368-1095.
Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland, is your #1 Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealer in this area. Stop by and see the brand new 2011 Chrysler 200. The 200 is essentially a new nameplate with a significant facelift to the outgoing 2010 Chrysler Sebring. A beautiful vehicle at an unbeatable price. And while you're there, check out the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the newly designed Dodge Durango. Redesigned, revamped, and reinvigorated. Yes, the Dodge Durango is back, bigger and better than ever. Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep offers a complete parts and service department with qualified service technicians to fix and repair your vehicle. So for your next brand new or pre-owned vehicle, make it Kyle Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland.
I'm Dr. James Markham, host of the television program Heart of Health, seen right here on WTNB television. Thursday at 7 o'clock, Friday at 8 a.m. or Sunday at 3:30 p.m.
Good morning and welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. I'm Kim Palo. I'm here with Chuck Harris and also Dr. Kundo. We've been talking a little bit about degenerative diseases that have to do with the brain. We were talking about primary progressive aphasia and the effect that it has on people as far as their ability to speak and to communicate. We also want to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's disease this morning, about the different symptoms that you can look for, maybe the medications, new medications, and maybe a little bit about where we're going, where the medications and the medical field are going and the advances they've made. So tell us a little bit about Alzheimer's, the symptoms people can look for. We know that it's brain, but tell us something that Chuck can understand.
Yeah, I mean, during the break we was talking and the medicine, stuff, and we was talking about you had a patient that was shaking and the medicine and stuff.
Oh, I mean, there are many medicines. Unfortunately, medicines, when we develop a medicine, an effective medicine can only be there once we know exactly what causes it. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that through the ages there have been different diseases, and for the most part we didn't know what caused the disease. Right. For example, tuberculosis was considered to be because of an evil that people had in them. Right. And it was cured by the king's touch. So most of the kings and queens and princes of Europe, one of the major work every day, that you can call it work, was to be there and touch the people as they went by, and that was the treatment. And we did that because of our assumption of what the cause was. Right. So we come down to a disease like Alzheimer's. You have to understand that if we do not know what exactly causes it, then there cannot be an effective and curative treatment.
Right.
So curative treatment has to do with cause. So all the research that we are doing is to find the cause, find the cause, find the cause.
Now, has there been progress? Can we talk about things that may
there has
potentially
been tremendous
be a cause?
progress. There has been tremendous progress, but that final brick has to fall into place where we know this is exactly what is causing it. Again, I mean, one understands by analogies. I have to give you analogies, which is not necessarily breaking from the subject, but let's go back to peptic ulcer. It's an important assessment, because in peptic ulcer, all these years we thought it was curry, worry, and hurry that caused peptic ulcer. We now find it's a bug.
Right.
So that piece of information to find out that there is an agent called Helicobacter pylori, which affects the stomach mucosa, and that causes an area of damage, and then the ulcer comes in because of the acid. Now, the acid is a normal finding in the stomach, so at which point does it become an ulcer? So this critical piece of information, as we found it, now we can actually treat it. So the treatment of peptic ulcer turned out to be the treatment of this bug. Now, let's come back to Alzheimer's. There has to be a finding that what is it finally that triggers the degenerative process. We do not know that yet. Now, we are finding out a lot of exactly what are the changes. So we are at the level where we are finding out the changes over there, and we find that there are certain proteins inside the brain cells that can split and form a little product, and that product turns out to be toxic. It is indeed possible for a molecule to break off a small group, and that little group molecule may be toxic, and then that kills the cell. So then therefore you have to go back and see what triggered that breakage. All right. So we are at a point where we identify a substance called amyloid, which we see all over the place. We see that if you take a section of the brain and you look at the brain cells, you can stain it with the amyloid stain, and it is all over the place in Alzheimer's disease. So then you would think that it is the deposition of the amyloid that's causing it. So what if we found a way to stop the amyloid? So then you're thinking of immune substances which act against the amyloid, and indeed these are wonderful research that is going on. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for example, they came up with a marker.
Yes, I saw
and that's right. So then you can hear of each one of these little components, which I believe is going to add together to come together a causal treatment. So
now, what about the people out there that their families have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's in early stages, mid stages, last stages? What, you know, everybody wants a cure, and we know it's not there. What type of, is there treatments now that can help, and what do they need to do, and to come to you to have you to help them to get through the situation, because it's a very, very, very stressful time for the families?
Well, again, I will go back to your experience, that your understanding and diagnosis made a big change, as you told me, and that is with everybody else. First of all, understanding that that is what we are looking at. Initially, people do not know what's wrong with my grandpa, what's wrong with my father, and we are banging our heads and thinking this is probably a stroke, this is a tumor, this is a vascular malformation. So we go down that path, but once we identify it, then even though we may not have a causal treatment, we can have symptomatic treatment. So there is no condition known where we cannot treat. It is not that we can cure. The word cure doesn't have a meaning in many diseases. If somebody is diagnosed with cancer, you don't necessarily cure them, but you can treat them to the point that they have a functioning life for the next 7, 8, 10, 15 years sometimes.
Now, what are the things that people can do right now when they find out or they suspect that, you know, say Joe, you know, or even myself. I mean, my father had PPA. It is a disease that affects early ages usually. They don't, you know, it's like in the 40s and 50s. I'm hitting 51 in Sunday. You know, what could Joe look for in me, or someone that you know that starts to have symptoms with Alzheimer's, that you would not just go to your primary care physician, but that you take that leap, you know, because your primary care may be just, and that's what we experience, you know, different things here and, you know, tests here. What could they look for when they need to come to you to say, you know, I think something's seriously wrong?
Well, obviously, anybody can sense that something is wrong with somebody, even though they can't put their finger down on it.
Right.
So when an individual doesn't function at the same cognitive level that they did before, that itself is a cause for concern.
And what kind of help is there right now?
The issue again is to go back to where you were. First of all, do we know what's causing that? Right. And that is the diagnostic process. So therefore, if there is a concern that somebody is not remembering things, somebody cannot take the same executive decision that they used to take, they can't balance their checkbook, they somehow can't put a meal into the microwave and get exactly what they want, they tend to find some difficulty in picking up the telephone and calling their daughter as they did before. These are all signs that there is some loss in their cognitive skills. Right. And that then immediately needs to be followed up to be traced to its ultimate diagnosis, and I'm not saying that that's going to turn out to be Alzheimer's. It could be a depression that that person has. So therefore, to differentiate between these things is where the role of neurology comes in.
Right.
And then once you identify it, then we can talk of the available medications and the available adjustments to the living circumstances that allows this person to stay in a functional status to the end of their logical lifespan.
Right.
So the process of analysis is the key to the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we do know that that is what you want to do first in any type of neurology, things that you don't know. There are so many things that it could be when you have a tremor. You know, that you feel, or the shaking of the head, or any motor skills, because that also is affected by the brain. Everything we do is affected by the brain.
That's right.
And so that's where Dr. Kundo comes in, because he knows everything about the brain. And so we're going to see if maybe next month that he can bring maybe a model of the brain and give us a little bit of information. And guys, if you want to ask some questions, or if you want to, for me to ask him or Joe to ask him some questions when he's here next month on Wednesday, you're welcome to email me at kim@wtmbtv.net. And I'll be glad to give the questions to Dr. Kundo, or you can call it at 472-8892. I'll be glad to take your calls and get some questions lined up for Dr. Kundo, because he has a wealth of information. He was at the San Francisco Bay, and we are privileged to have him here. He knows exactly how he can help us and help those. I mean, I think, you know, even you were having some difficulty with some was it you with some tremors, or were you just, he was just nervous?
Nervous, but I was nervous.
He was nervous because he has a great scouting deal coming up with somebody, and he, you know, and to sign somebody, so he was a little nervous. So it's not always devastating when you visit a neurologist, and Dr. Kundo would be a great person to go to. Dr. Kundo, tell us a little bit about how an email address, where your offices are, a phone number that we can get in touch with you in.
My office is right here in town in Cleveland. In fact, it is next to the Skyridge Hospital in the Bradley Professional Building, next door to the hospital. And it's on Chambliss Avenue. And my telephone number is 423-790-1529, and you're welcome to give me a call.
All right, well, great. We are so glad that you were with us this morning. It's been a pleasure for me to meet you in person. Before, we had just emailed back and forth. And Chuck, you want to tell us what you know for just one last? We've got 1 minute left here.
The only thing is that, you know, we are having great things going on in Cleveland. We're also, our station is growing.
It is.
And I was touching the people. We're also getting ready for Friday Night Football.
We are.
And we're also getting ready to do some new things on the morning show.
Yes, we are. We're really excited about what's going on.
And also National Scouting Report. We are at the point of looking at different angles, different all sports. I know football, but you're going to say, there's other sports going on.
There's other sports?
There's other sports.
Oh, no, don't tell anybody in Cleveland there's anything besides football, especially this time of year.
If you need anybody wants to talk about that, recruiting, give me a call at 423-284-4597.
All right, guys. Well, we thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Kim Palo, Chuck Harris, Dr. Kundo. Thank you for being with us this morning. You guys have a great week. You're on the downward slide. You're almost to Friday. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.